I love these old games. They're so simple. The graphics are so charming. There's just something so cozy about it. Look at this thing. I don't even know what this is, but I love it. I wonder how old this game is now. It's not out yet. Planned release 2024. Now just what the heck is going on around here? Old games are cool. Ew, not old games. Gross. I'm talking those new old games. You know, the ones made in the last 10 years that look like they were made 30 years ago. Yeah, those ones. One of the most iconic games maybe ever came out in 2015, but looks like it was made much earlier. What the fuck is that? Ew, I don't like that. Get that out of here. I was talking about Undertale. You've heard of Undertale. Whether you've played it or not, whether you like it or not, you know what it is. The damn Pope's heard of it, and that guy's an old-ass white man heading the Catholic Church. Who could be more out of touch? Everyone knows of this game, but it's not some quadruple A turbo-inflated budget blockbuster. It's a simple, single dev game made on a small budget. Maybe it's thanks to people's favorite influencers, their annoying friends, or the porn. Either way, Undertale is now a household name and has sold more copies than many bigger titles. But the creator, Toby Fox, didn't have to spend tens of millions of dollars on the art to make it a success. He just had to work really hard on something he was passionate about, and get really fucking lucky. So why do games like Undertale look the way they do? In Undertale's case, Toby wanted to make a game heavily inspired by the Mother series on Nintendo consoles, which had a very similar 8-bit art style. But I'm sure the factors of time and cost crossed his mind in the process. Making hyper-realistic graphics like the ones you see in quintuple A games cost a goddamn fortune to produce, and are an impossible hurdle to jump for smaller independent game creators. So many indie developers will turn to creating a unique art style with simpler visuals for their game, which I find looks better and is more memorable than most games that strive for realism. Undertale wasn't the first game to attempt this, mind you, it was just the most recognizable example I could think of. Many indie studios did this before Undertale, like Yacht Club Games' Shovel Knight, Matt Makes Games' Towerfall, or one of my personal favorites, Free Lives' Broforce, along with countless other developers. Pixel art is now synonymous with indie games, so much so that I don't even think of pixel art as being retro. It is in a way, since that is how games looked back then, but now more modern games have been made in the pixel art style than the classic consoles even had in their catalogs. In recent years, more independent developers have started to adopt the low-poly, simple-textured art styles of the early generations of 3D consoles, specifically PS1 and N64. It could be because there are more tools available that allow this type of graphical style to be reproduced. Devs just find that it's more feasible, or more people who grew up with these games are making games. I don't know. All I know is that I love it. It's like people are moving on from pixel art nostalgia to low-poly nostalgia. What is it about these art styles that make these games so appealing? Sure, there's the nostalgia I mentioned, but why do these art styles work so well for these games? I believe it comes down to function. Different art styles play to the strengths of different types of games. The N64 style has smoother textures to get very clean models and backgrounds, which help to more clearly distinguish positioning, making it a great aesthetic choice for precision-heavy games like 3D platformers. Whereas the PS1 style, or PSX, has higher fidelity textures, making it a better choice for more story-driven, immersive games. The PSX style also has that weird wibbly-wobbly look that makes stuff look super strange and alien, which can really elevate fantasy and horror worlds. There's a reason why the PS1 is fondly remembered for games like Final Fantasy VII and Resident Evil. Sorry, Crash. And the N64 is remembered for Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie. I know there are platformers on PlayStation and attempts at immersive story-driven games on N64, but this video isn't meant to be a petty opinion piece on overrated games from 1998. These games I mentioned show off the value that these consoles' visual styles brought to the world of gaming and why these games still hold up, except for the camera controls. I really love the fact that more people are adopting these art styles and understand the value they have. Some of my favorite games of recent years utilize these aesthetics. It's so cool to see people making things that focus so much on gameplay as well. Sure, a hextuple A company can pump out a decent platformer with ultra high fidelity graphics, but these indie devs are proving you can make a great one with simpler visuals for fractions of pennies on the dollar. These devs that utilize these simple 3D art styles effectively show that it's not just an aesthetic, but a deliberate design decision to elevate the game even further. The simpler art allows more of the time and budget to go into designing the world and how the game plays. I often find these pointy worlds are just fun to play around in, without a specific goal or task. Simpler art styles can also save on processing power, which can help the game run smoothly for people who don't have a $10,000 PC rig. Besides, I don't need hyper-detailed wall textures in a game where I'm speed hopping around everywhere. If the game plays well, I just need to know where the ground and walls are. I talked quite a bit about Undertale earlier. I'm not a diehard fan, but I do really like the game. The reason why I put so much emphasis on it is because I believe it is incredibly important for the gaming industry. Undertale was a smash hit with many demographics, but mostly children. I think that it's amazing that a game that looks like this can even hold the attention of a child, when there are so many other nicer looking and colorful games out there. Its wholesome messaging aside, the reason why I think Undertale is so important to the game industry is that it demonstrated the fun, artistry, and value an old-ass looking 8-bit game can provide. And the kids recognize that. It inspired more young people to look into game design because, hey, if Toby can do it mostly alone, then let's see what I can do. It shows that it's possible. It was a gateway indie game. It introduced more people to the world of smaller game creators. I'm sure Minecraft and FNAF helped as well, but neither of those games look retro. Minecraft kind of does, but it's kind of its own thing. I'm sure I have big Let's Players to thank too. They tend to play a lot of indie games since they're always scrounging for new things to play. The PSX and N64 looking games are still not quite as accepted as I like them to be though. I often play these types of games on stream. And too often do I see people comment on them looking like shit, where I think they look awesome. What I'm waiting on is a PSX game to have the same cultural impact as Undertale. Then maybe more people will see the value in these charming art pieces. I love video games, so to see more younger people expand their horizons beyond these septuple-A shit shows is quite cathartic. I'm so excited to see what people will make in the future. Maybe one of those Undertale kids will be the next Toby Fox. Either way, I think modern retro is here for good. And it's about time we got some good from this industry. Thanks for watching, and support small developers. Peace.